The following program contains scenes with violence. Viewer discretion is advised.
On this edition of the Fifth Estate, as the world watches what comes next in Gaza, there's quieter but intensifying violence in the West Bank.
Back to the court, back to the court!
We're in the West Bank village of Susia, where Palestinians here say they live under constant threat of attack by Israeli settlers.
Khader sleep here, you see the blood?
The International Court of Justice calls the settlements illegal. Canada says they undermine a future Palestinian state. Ottawa condemns the escalating violence, but our investigation reveals Canadian charities are sending millions of tax-deductible dollars to Israeli groups intent on forcing Palestinians off this land.
We are financing war criminality through our charitable system.
These aren't settlers. These are Jews who have returned to the cradle of Jewish civilization.
Your donation is part of the problem making peace disappear.
I'm Joanna Rumeliotis. This is the Fifth Estate.
مشان الله افزعوا حزموا علينا المستوطنين كسرونا.
We got the call and rushed to a hospital in Yatta in the West Bank. Oh my goodness, everybody's here, eh?
Yeah, come.
Oh my gosh, hi.
تقريبا اعتداءات متكررة من بداية الحرب حتى الآن. يعني ما انقطعت الاعتداءات.
Kader Nawaja and his wife were sleeping outside on their farm to find some respite from the August heat. They woke to the sound of their own screams.
اعتدوا علي أنا من يوم ما صحيت من النوم بالحجار يعني مش حجار بسيطة حجار كبيرة في الحجم يعني حجار أقول لك أنا يعني عمري 56 سنة صدق ما بقدر أشيلها بيد وحدي يشيلوا الحجار وخبط فيه يعني كان بالحجار بعد نحتاج الحجار بالعصي يعني.
When his wife Fatima tried to help him, she says the settlers turned on her.
أنا في الفترة هاي الأخيرة كنت مش قادر لا أضرب ولا أدافع عن حالي ولا أدافع عن جوزي إيدي نازلة. تذكرت إن بنتي نايمة في الغرفة فرحت أركض يعني على السريع أركض وأنا مش قادر أركض يعني فتت عليها لقيتها يعني كويسة يعني سليمة.
Their daughter Eileen, who had locked herself in their home, was the one who sent the frantic call for help on a community WhatsApp group. Nasser Nawaja rushed over.
How do you feel being here today and seeing your relative in this position?
I arrive, I see Khader's blood. I try to call the police. Just the police arrive and stop there. I try to ask him if give him some support or to call the ambulance and say, no, you call the Palestinian ambulance. And I feel very broken, my heart.
Community members continued to stream in while we were there. Dr. Tarek Abu Aram tries to lift their spirits too. This kind of violence, he says, has become a new normal.
How many times have you treated people who've been attacked by settlers?
Many times, sometime daily, in the last time today weekly, at least.
لا ما سمعتهم مش حكوا لا أنا من بس ما تسمعيش إلا ضرب الحجار ضرب العصي صوت العصي طيخ طاخ يعني صوت العصا لما تنضرب على إيد كي تسمعيها وأنا يعني أصرخ عشان السكان يعني حدا يفزعنا أو حدا يعني يجينا بس أجونا يعني في الناس نايمة يعني أجونا في الآخر شيء بس كنا يعني.
The United Nations estimates that settlers have carried out more than 2,500 attacks against Palestinians in the West Bank since the war in Gaza began.
Here the home of Khader.
Nasser is Kader's relative and neighbor. He shows us where the attack took place.
Khader sleep here. You see the blood? Oh. And his car there, stop, front of the home.
Okay.
And he here broken the glass of the car. Just he wake up, stay here, and he see between, he see group of settlers, 7, 8 settlers coming with a stick and with rock, attack him here, and attack his wife, broken
Her arm.
her arm, yeah.
Was she in here as well?
Yeah, she here as well.
Nasser and generations of his family before him were born and raised in these hills. A landscape now dotted with expanding Israeli settlements and settler outposts, which are unauthorized but tolerated by the Israeli government.
Guys, back to the car, back to the car!
As a field researcher for the Israeli human rights group B'Tselem, Nasser is documenting the alarming rise in settler violence since the Hamas attack of October 7th, including what happened here to his own family members.
Yeah.
We noticed movement at the settler outpost on the hill.
No, you're good. Let's walk out.
Okay, yeah.
As we left, another dreaded call came in. This one involves another clash between settlers and Palestinian farmers in a nearby village.
What happened?
This is from village of Rahwa, I think 10 kilometers from here. One settlers, he just drive after the sheep and shouting and tell him forbidden to grazing here. I asked him if he took video and record. He say we afraid. No, we afraid to make him more angry and attack us. He tell me we took rock to help to save ourselves. And he tell him if you attack me, we make for you like hadalin. What mean hadalin? Audi hadalin. To shoot him like Hadalin.
Auda Hathalin was killed a few weeks before we got here. B'Tselem video shows settlers, including Yinon Levi, invading the Palestinian community of al-Kahir with an excavator. When villagers tried to stop them, Levi pulled out a gun. Hathalin was recording the confrontation as Levi fired his pistol and ended up capturing his own death. Levi was released after 3 days of house arrest. He's long been notorious for attacks against Palestinians, and it's why Canada put him on a sanctions list last May. The blood-stained concrete where Hathalin died has become a shrine and a renewed source of resistance, especially for his brother Khalil.
You won't leave.
No.
And when you see your brother's blood on the floor,
This is make me more strong because this is my land. This is Palestinian land. سويها كويس. كويس ها.
Several countries, including Canada, condemn the escalating attacks and have sanctioned Israeli entities and ministers, including ultranationalist finance minister Bezalel Smotrich, for facilitating settler violence against Palestinian civilians in the West Bank. Before he became a minister in Israel's Knesset, Smotrich co-founded Regavim, a pro-settlement group that challenges the legality of Palestinian villages. Naomi Khan is the international director of Regavim, the only pro-settlement group that agreed to talk to us. She says the violence against Palestinians has been exaggerated.
The vast majority of cases of violence, where there was violence, were initiated confrontations that were caused by a combination of anarchists from abroad who come to create those confrontations and then film them and publicize them.
So you believe that most of that violence is provoked?
An overwhelming majority of it is provoked, and we
These are
found the
people
exact same
sleeping
thing
at home in the middle of the
That's
night
what they're
and
telling
are
you.
attacked. That's what they're telling you?
That's what they're telling you.
As we will show, Regavim solicits donations from around the world to support the displacement of Palestinians in the West Bank. What Nasser can't understand is why Canadians can get tax breaks to help that happen.
أي دعم كندي للمستوطنات هو دعم لقتل الفلسطينيين وتهجير الفلسطينيين كمان.
When we come back,
Something is very, very wrong here when you have charities in Canada very clearly operating in contravention of Canadian public policy.
October 7th was a shocking, day, a horrific day with war crimes and crimes against humanity perpetrated against Israelis. And the trauma that Israelis went through as a result of this is one of the reasons why, in our analysis, it was possible for the Israeli government, for the Israeli regime, to change to become a genocidal regime in Gaza.
Sarit Mikhaili is the international director for the human rights group B'Tselem. It's the most prominent of Israeli organizations monitoring settler violence.
How important do you think it is to keep putting the spotlight on the West Bank, especially with the world looking at Gaza?
I think that we have to remember that the reality in the West Bank is also, in a sense, very much linked to what Israel is doing in Gaza. Everywhere in the southern Hebron Hills is now covered with Israeli flags, just so, the Palestinians don't forget for a moment who's the boss here.
Roughly 3.3 million Palestinians live in the West Bank, which has been under Israeli military occupation since 1967. Palestinians have limited self-governance in 40% of the region, known as Areas A and B. Israel has complete control over the rest, called Area C. We're on our way to meet Nasser Nawaja in Susia, which is in Area C.
It's the southernmost tip of the West Bank, south of Hebron, and it's an area where the most violent and aggressive attempt at forcible transfer and ethnic cleansing is taking place right now. This is the old, ancient Susia that was taken over by Israel under the guise of it being an archaeological site. It's also where Nasser was born and has not been able to access since the mid-80s.
Ancient Susia is now an idyllic tourist attraction featuring an ancient synagogue. There is no reference to the families like Nasser's who lived here and who were forced out. The Palestinians who were removed built makeshift structures on their farmland nearby. But the homes have been deemed illegal by Israeli authorities and remain under threat of demolition.
Pretty much everything you see around you is illegal under Israeli law, right? There are very few impediments to Israeli bulldozers arriving and just totally flattening all of this. Even the dogs are staying out of the sun. Palestinian people of Susia, and it's no different than any other community in this entire area, have to endure ongoing daily attacks by Israeli settlers, totally backed by the state. They have to endure the fact that they're not connected to any services, electricity, water, none of that. They're living off grid because the Israeli authorities don't allow them to connect.
Nasser's family says its ancestors have lived on this land for hundreds of years.
Hello. Hi. Hi, Nasser.
Come on, we will show you.
Nasser, do you stay here for security or to get away from the heat?
From the heat now. Yeah.
On this scorching day in August, with temperatures in the high 40s, family members are underground.
Oh, hello. Hello.
Ilaf, my daughter, she's special.
Oh, of course.
She have problem.
Special needs, yeah.
Special need.
Yeah.
We
How old
will,
is she?
4.5 years. We will support her.
How many children do you have?
I have 4, 2 girl and 2 boy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for showing us your home.
Yeah.
It's home, but no one feels safe here. Human rights activists have captured Nasser and his family harassed by settlers on their land, even taking over their playground, built by the NGO Save the Children.
אם האנשים האלה, פלסטינים, היו עושים אותו דבר כמו שהם עושים עכשיו, רובם היו במעצר, אם לא חלק מהם מתים, ואתם עומדים פה, כאילו זה פאקינג העבודה שלכם לשמור.
To Nasser especially, it's clear the settlers and soldiers are on the same side.
Nasser. No wajah. Nasser. למה?
אתה מוקב לחקירה? של השב"כ? בוא.
Nobody help us, nobody save us.
You don't feel like there's anybody here to protect you?
No.
Like his father before him, Nasser farms their land and is raising his family here. He has about 100 olive trees and goats.
If you see all this mountain, all this caravan, this is a new caravan after 7 October.
Oh.
Yeah, and we before use this mountain for grazing, but now no.
The outposts expand the reach of the Israeli settlement just across the valley, which is also called Susia. Israeli soldiers are based nearby. This past June, an Israeli fundraising site was accepting Canadian donations to expand settlers' presence in the area. A controversial Israeli entity called the Har Hebron Fund was soliciting the support. The Har Hebron Fund was sanctioned by the Canadian government last year for supporting extremist settler violence. That makes it illegal for Canadians to financially support it. We donated $25 to see what would happen. We initially received an email thanking us for our donation and informing us that a tax receipt would be provided by a registered Canadian charity, Mizrahi Canada.
The tax receipt was not coming from the Israeli intermediary or jgive.com because that would have been meaningless within the Canadian tax system, but that Mizrahi Organization of Canada was operating as a conduit on their behalf.
To issue a tax receipt, a charity must show it has direction and control over donations. Canadians get a tax break for charitable giving because they're contributing to the public good.
What we find is there's a direct contravention here of international law.
Miles Howe is an academic and part of a network of activists scrutinizing donations to charities that end up in the West Bank.
What motivated you to go down that field of research?
There was a personal interest, for sure. I do come from a household that was very much Zionist in its ideological leanings. It had, impacted me greatly on a personal level.
From the start, Zionism promoted the right of a Jewish homeland. For some, that includes the West Bank, where 500,000 settlers live in settlements that are considered illegal under international law. The vast majority of the settlers are not involved in violence against Palestinians. But for Howe, who is Jewish, any support to settlements makes charities complicit in Palestinian displacement.
There's an overt funding of illegal settlement activities. It doesn't need to be money to run arms to violent settlers for it to be illegal. The entirety of the physical structure itself is settled under customary international law as illegal.
Most of the world, including Canada, condemns the continuing expansion of settlements in the West Bank. But the pro-settlement group Regavim wants to demolish what it calls illegal Palestinian homes.
saying it's hard to get permits and therefore we will build illegally. Think about how would that go over in Canada? Well, I didn't get a permit. The government rejected my request, so I'm just going to do it anyway.
When I look at how Regavim works, is that I view it as a racist organization that also is grounded. Their entire philosophy is Jewish supremacy. They actually went to the Israeli High Court and claimed that Susia, this village that has been living on their own land in terrible hardship since being expelled by the Israeli authorities from the original cave village, is an illegal outpost, quote unquote.
The constant threat of eviction and violence hangs over Nasser and his family, especially his wife Hayam.
من البيت يعني بطلع الساعة مش بس بالنهار بطلع الساعة 2 في الليل على الساعة 3 بيجي أي تلفون بطلع يعني فإحنا يعني بنخاف على قديش عليه كمان يطلع من البيت.
When we come back.
Canadians by and large are not aware that their money is going over and is being used to subsidize the Israeli army. If they knew what was happening, I think most people would be outraged.
Okay, careful, let's wait.
We're in the West Bank, just off the main highway linking Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
If you don't want to wait here.
Cross here.
Yes. Okay. This is the place where I was born in 1953. And it is really terrible to speak about the place when you come after years to see what happened.
Haider Abu Ghosh was 14 years old when soldiers cleared out his village after Israel occupied the West Bank in 1967.
3 years ago, the Haaretz newspaper published an article about what happened in 1967 in Amwas. And they had photographs of us that really very, very painful. And this is the first time I saw these pictures.
What was the hardest part for you looking at those photographs?
To see myself. I didn't like it. Very, very painful, really. It is ugly memory. It is very painful.
About 10,000 Palestinians from 3 villages in this area of the West Bank were forced out, and Israel demolished their homes. The displacement of the families who lived here has since been deemed illegal under international law.
They are not ashamed.
Within a few years, the Canadian arm of the Jewish National Fund raised millions of dollars to build Canada Park on the land where Haider's home once stood.
And get all these, the names everywhere here. The names of the donors.
When you look at these names, what goes through your mind?
I think they are they are partners in the crime. People should ask when they donate. They should really know the whole information about the place they donate to.
It's something that is incumbent on all of us as Canadians to step up to and to say that's wrong.
Shane Martinez is a Toronto lawyer who volunteers with the International Center of Justice for Palestinians. We caught up with him last month when he delivered an extraordinary criminal complaint to the Department of Justice, asking the RCMP to investigate JNF Canada.
And to specifically look at JNF Canada, their connection to Canada Park, and whether or not any of the activities that JNF Canada engaged in, whether they're war crimes or offenses under the Criminal Code of Canada.
But we're talking about decades, so why take this action now?
We need to take it now because there's still survivors that are with us from this displacement. This is an incident that occurred that impacts how Israel is acting today. It continues its illegal expansions of settlements. It continues its attempts at annexation because countries like Canada don't step up.
The legal action keeps a harsh spotlight on JNF Canada. The CRA revoked its charitable status last year and in past audits pointed to JNF's support for Canada Park, Israeli settlements, and armed forces, which violates charity rules and is contrary to Canada's public policy. JNF is appealing the decision and recently announced a charity called Friends of JNF will continue its work and issue tax receipts.
Canadian law is clear. It's not charity to support the army of another country.
Meanwhile, critics say other charities continue to break the rules. The Canadian Zionist Cultural Association says it supports families and youth in need, but its recent tax disclosures show it sends millions to Israeli soldier support groups.
For example, the Association for Israeli Soldiers received $1.2 million in that year alone. Friends of the IDF, another organization that's its sole purpose is to support Israeli soldiers, received another $35,000. These are active duty soldiers. These are people that are currently serving in the Israeli military.
Previous fundraisers openly showcased CZCA's support for the Israeli military. We asked to attend this year's fundraiser and also requested an interview. We did not hear back. Security was heavy, and a Fifth Estate journalist's request to speak with organizers at the event was turned down.
Just as a journalist, just go in and check it out?
Absolutely
No, nothing at all.
No.
It's a private event.
People can make donations anywhere they want to, right? The issue is the tax receipt. And why is that so relevant?
The tax receipt is incredibly relevant. Canadians, by and large, are not aware that their money is going over and is being used to subsidize the Israeli army. If they knew what was happening, I think most people would be outraged. This is many millions of dollars that could otherwise be benefiting Canadians.
And then there's Mizrahi Canada. For years, the charity sent millions of dollars to Israel, but only started providing details of what the money was going towards in recent years.
What prompted Mizrahi Canada to disclose its list of intermediaries?
It's unclear, but there was a degree of public pressure. There was a degree of complaints being issued to the CRA directly.
Howe's research looked at Mizrahi Canada's tax filings in 2022 and 2023, which show that more than $4 million went to dozens of groups supporting settlement activity in the West Bank. Among them, Regavim, which received more than $16,000. Not the largest amount, but even more controversial because remember, Regavim was co-founded by Israel's far-right minister Bezalel Smotrich, who Canada has sanctioned.
Why are people, all of these dots here, that's illegal Arab construction, why are they there?
Remember Naomi Khan, who works for Regavim? She says Palestinians in Susia have no right to live there.
So where do you think the people who live there should go?
Where were they to begin with?
They say they were there.
Of course not. It didn't exist as an Arab village until the early 2000s. There was nothing there.
I think there are people there who disagree with that.
There are people who disagree with a lot of things.
Canadians can still donate to Regavim and get a tax receipt from Mizrahi Canada. Mizrahi's national director, Rabbi Ilan Mazer, did not respond to our requests for an interview. Knowing he split his time between Canada and Israel, we tried to call him, hoping we could meet him in Jerusalem. But he was in a different time zone.
It's 6 a.m. You called both me and my wife at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
We thought you might be in Israel, so we thought you might be on this number in Israel. So I'm sorry if we woke you up. We've been trying to reach you now for several weeks to talk to you for a story that we're working on for the Fifth Estate. Can we arrange an on-camera interview? I think he's hung up.
We were left with a lot of questions, including why we were offered a tax receipt for donating to the Har Hebron Fund, which Canada has sanctioned for supporting settler violence. But after we asked the Har Hebron Fund and Mizrahi Canada for interviews, we got an email telling us the donation we had made weeks before was taken in error and would be refunded.
Recognizing the state of Palestine, led by the Palestinian Authority, empowers those who seek peaceful coexistence.
At the United Nations this past September, Canada recognized an independent Palestinian state. So why are Canadian charities allowed to keep supporting projects that critics say undermine the prospect of one? The CRA declined an interview. So did the office of the minister responsible for it, François-Philippe Champagne. So we went to Ottawa to try to talk to him.
Minister Champagne, hi. My name is Joanna Remiliotis.
Yes.
I work for CBC's The Fifth Estate.
Yes.
Can you help me understand, why does Canada allow charities here to support Israeli settlements and even the military in the occupied territories when that goes against Canada's public policy and the tax laws?
So what I understand from your question, we have very stringent laws regarding, I mean, if you look at the tax code, for example, with respect to charities, I think the laws of Canada are in line with what you find in other G7 countries, as far as I know, and we always make sure with the CRA, which is the Canadian Revenue Agency, that anyone who wants to qualify as a registered charity follows all the rules and principles that we have in the tax code. And as far as I know, these rules have been well established in Canadian law for a long time.
Yes,
so that's what I
people,
can say for now.
People who are violating that public policy.
I'll have more chance to see you.
To take action is not something that I've seen Canada do. They're great at talking the talk, but when it comes to walking the walk, they won't do it.
Diana Boutou is a Palestinian-Canadian lawyer specializing in international human rights.
And yet, despite everything that we're seeing, Canada is still continuing to send weapons. It's still got a free trade agreement with Israel, and it still hasn't taken a position of imposing sanctions on Israel. And this is in the face of the worst of international crimes. So if they haven't done this in the face of the worst international crimes, then it's not at all surprising to me that when it comes to things like settlements, that they turn a blind eye, say all the things that they should be saying, but don't do anything about it.
Back at Canada Park, Haider's history may be buried in the rubble.
This is part of the ruins of what remained of the houses.
But the ghosts of the past are still very much present.
اصلا احنا ما بنعرفه من مره ده ما بنعرف الناس يعني بظل الواحد قلقان ما بيعرف ينام بتخافي على اولادك بتخافي على حال.
When we come back.
But we have to decide, what do we want? If we want peace, we have to give up that which we think is ours in order to make peace possible.
More than 200,000 Palestinians live in Hebron, the largest Palestinian city in the West Bank. This part of Hebron is where roughly 800 Israeli settlers live, under Israeli military protection. Palestinians' movements are restricted in this area, and they're not allowed to drive on these roads.
They want you to feel isolated. They want you to feel unsafe.
We meet Mohanad Kafesha, who has to take us through olive groves to meet a well-known Palestinian human rights defender named Issa Amro.
We're friends. Yeah. I'm part of Issa's association, Youth Against Settlements. Yeah.
Issa's home sits on top of a hill. It is surrounded by Israeli settlers and an Israeli military post.
What's that?
These soldiers like, where are you from? Who are you? No, yes, me po.
Hello, Issa, how are you? Apologies for being late.
No, it's okay. This is our life.
Issa says he advocates for non-violent resistance, but has been routinely attacked by Israeli soldiers. What happened on October 7th, 2023, he says, was even worse. Cell phone video on that day caught soldiers and settlers surrounding him outside his home.
On October 7th, the first thing the settlers, my neighbors, did was to put on their army uniform with other soldiers. They kidnapped me from the midday to the midnight, tortured, beaten, sexually assaulted by them. I was saying that this is my last moment. It was so painful to me.
Issa says the attacks haven't stopped.
And each time they attack, I add more fences, to reach the point that I feel I live in a cage. My room where I sleep, my bedroom, it's covered by concrete stones, because I feel on the night that they may come and shoot me inside my bed.
Issa takes us to what was once a bustling Palestinian main street. It's practically deserted now.
This house is closed. Look, houses are welded, sealed. It's a Palestinian private house. It's sealed, closed.
Who closed that?
The Israeli military. This is a Palestinian shop here. It's closed and marked as a closed shop. It's closed by an Israeli military order.
What's the logic behind shutting down homes and shops along the street?
To remove Palestinians from their homes. That's it. That's the only excuse. So this is a settlement here.
This new building
Yes, here, and even this one here. I used to walk here to reach the Ibrahimi Mosque. Not anymore. We are not allowed to use our own streets to go to the mosque, to go to the market, to visit our neighbors. This is our... Yeah.
As Issa shows us around, he sees a settler he knows.
He attacked me. And I have videos of him coming to intimidate me with his military uniform, this one. He knows me. He was the lawyer of an Israeli settler who slapped me 2019, and he lost in the court. And he came many times to my house to prevent people from coming to my house. And even he removed them from my house. This is his lawsuit, his lawyer's suit.
Let's walk.
Yeah.
That must be very difficult. You're walking down the street and you see the person who violated your rights.
Yes, that he can do whatever he wants to me, and he's a lawyer. Now he's a settler, in the night he's a soldier, and he can act as he wants. So after this, I can't go.
Can't cross.
Yes, I can't cross more than this.
Okay.
What is the difference between here and there? Nothing. But they want to expand the area where I'm not allowed to take it over. That's it. It's about taking more land, taking more property, taking more neighborhoods, and push Palestinians away.
Past the checkpoint, we go through the market area and the old city, which is run by the Palestinian Authority under the close eye of Israeli soldiers. One of them gestures at us to stop filming. As we move on, we see Palestinians have set up nets to catch garbage settlers routinely throw down at them.
This settlement was built on top of the Palestinian fruit market.
Oh my goodness. Palestinian rights are under constant attack, says Issa, and Canadian charities are part of the problem.
You know, Canadian people, maybe some people, they have a goodwill, but this is very wrong, you know, a place to put your money, because these organizations are not for peace. Anybody should, you know, have any relationship with them should be accountable. Not only Rakavim, not only the Mount Hebron Fund. There are many, you know, small charities everywhere in Canada and all over the world. They should stop. Your donation is part of the problem, making peace disappear.
We asked multiple Israeli organizations to speak to us about Canadian donations they received. They declined or ignored our messages. The Hamas attack of October 7th has left an agonizing mark on Israelis. And while the first glimmer of peace in Gaza brings hope and the hostages home, the violence and displacement in the West Bank continues.
In the West Bank, war crimes are committed on a daily basis. And I say something which is not easy for me to say, but which I feel I must say. What happens in the West Bank leaves Israel with absolute no defense.
In the past, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Olmert supported Israeli settlements in the occupied territories. But that changed over time, he says, when he accepted peace demands compromise.
If we want to recognize the rights of other people, if the choice is between expelling Palestinians from where they live or expelling ourselves from the territories where they live. There is only one option which is acceptable to me, to expel ourselves from that territory and allow them to exercise their rights of self-determination and to establish the state alongside the state of Israel and hopefully create a momentum that will bring us to a cooperation, to mutual respect, to mutual acquiescence, and to peace, to genuine peace.
Back in Susia, peace and justice seem far off.
I think this camera filming the settlers here, maybe.
And they took away the footage?
Yeah, took all the memory of the camera. If the police sure want to look in and give us justice, just going to open the camera and see who the people coming, but no justice for us, for the Palestinians.
2 months after the attack on his family members, Nasser told us no charges have been laid. Our visit was a moment in time. Settlers continue to attack Palestinian civilians. This one happened near Susia after we left. So did this, a new settler outpost that was established overnight inside the Palestinian community where Auda Hathaleen was shot to death by a settler earlier this year. But in Susia, for now, every day still ends the same way, with a promise to stay.